back in open session, having taken no action in closed session, we're back in at 10:35.
Wait, I have to do mine real quick, sorry.
All right, let's go.
Let me do mine real fast.
I think you're on, right?
I'm on, okay, I'm done.
Item 7.
Good, I like it.
You already used the play your time out.
I used up all my time and other stuff, so it's gonna be a record. Just leave one of these on, can you see it there? Too small.
Too small.
We got handouts. We got handouts.
I passed,
We
I
got
made
handouts.
copies for everybody.
We got handouts.
Or something.
We got
Yeah.
handouts. Yeah.
We
Okay,
got the handout.
good.
It's in color.
Okay, so the important thing, if you look at the handout, is the curve on the graph. It's pretty significant. I mean, at least a little bit of good news is that we have increased, the blue curve is where we are this year, so we are back where we were 2 years ago in terms of storage, so that's good. All indication is that we'll probably have, without any significant difficulty, you're 2 feet, Robert, I'm 1 foot, Al, 1 foot. Right now, we can almost guarantee 1 foot.
But your calculations are always wrong.
I know, but that's
I mean,
because I have no idea what's
You're
going
always
on.
on both sides all the time.
Not all the time, sometimes I get closer to him.
I want to make sure it's on the record. I want to make sure.
They're different predictions. He predicts what there is to do. He predicts on what he's going to deliver. They're not the same.
That's right. I want to make sure he doesn't get too far out in front of me, because it seems like 1 year we had to do a negative allocation.
That's true.
Well,
That was a little rough.
Well, so today, what is the action?
There's 240,000 acres, sorry about that, that keeps reorienting. Good, if this works. We're at 240. And then it went away again. I'm having technology problems, but anyways, it's up there, I just can't get it to go full screen. Is that one right? But you can see it up there, the number, well, it's on your sheets.
Yeah, it's on our-
It's on the sheet, yeah.
Yeah, at the top of it's 240,000. Herman said he estimated 40,000 that was San Juan and maybe credit. By the way, there's another 12,000 coming down. You heard him say that is ours.
From that
Well, I was
flood.
thinking, is this trending up or is it going to stop there?
Well, you look at the curve a little bit, it's just plateaued now, we're flat. We're not seeing any changes right now, but they'll be, at December 31st, they'll wait to the very end, they'll dump 12,000 acre feet, so we'll shoot up another 10,000. And we're just waiting, the early stuff from if you look at the snow, it looks pretty good for this time of year. It's better than the other way. The other one is the second page is Palmer drought indices. You guys have your, I don't think, you didn't give me one.
I got it right here.
The second page is the Palmer drought. And the one is where we are now, so the darker the color is the worse. If you look at the bottom, that's our watershed last year.
This is last year's?
And the bottom of the sheet is last year's. And the top of the sheet's this year. And you see that there's at least a little white area. This is basically the humidity and the soil moisture of the area, and the temperatures and things like that. And so we're seeing some white, which is normal, and then we're at least have gone down to where we're just in moderate drought in some areas. Whereas if you look last year, we were in extreme every place. So that's a good indication. We got to get the soil moisture back up before we can get any runoff. Even though I think it's unfortunate that we had such large wildfire areas burned, but and we get a lot of debris from that, but one of the benefits we get for that is, Carlos Rubenside said that, Herman, was that when you kill the trees, they don't use water, and so the water runs to the river.
They don't hold it back either. I mean, you get a lot of trash, but if the water's running, or you wouldn't have a lot of trash.
It's got a lot of negative aspects too, but positive aspects are, is we get a 2-inch rainfall, we get 1 inch in the river, whereas before we'd have to have a 4-inch to get. So a few things have gone in our favor. All that said, 200,000 right now, which is where we were 2 years ago. What did we have 2 years ago was our allocation? It was 18 inches, wasn't it? 2012?
2012, yeah, probably 18 inches.
So, indication would be if it's the same thing happens as 2012, we'd have 1.5 foot. Robert's going to say 2, I'm saying 1. Each month will change. He'll be up to 4, I'll be up to 2.
I'm not saying anything.
Hey, for the small track people, this is good. You already got 2 irrigations,
Yeah.
so it's not like the crazy scenario we had last year.
Right.
At least we're back to extreme, we're out of the ultra drought into the extreme drought. Or the severe drought. That's it, I'm done.
All right. All right. Pedro, you own.
Good morning. Okay, well, with water season done, we're starting to do some of our larger projects, finishing up all the mowing that we have to do within the internal system to be able to park those mowers and concentrate on these bigger projects. And I guess while Jay gets that ready, I wanted some direction, and I think we spoke this before, I just can't remember what the final decision was. But we have 2 farmers that are proceeding with piping under the Tornillo Canal so they can get water from one side of their field to the other.
They're just, these are replacement siphons, like flumes.
They were always there.
They were always there.
They were there. We did find the license, Jay found the license on them, and both farmers do want to proceed with
They're
it.
basically the same as a flume, it's just they're going under instead of over. So we've been doing the same thing, we discussed that before license. Engineering's recommend we just treat them as we had a flume, because they're effectively the same thing. They pay for the material and we pay for the construction.
And we do this on Tornillo, yes, sir. Now, one thing we are doing is we're requesting to put some concrete slab over these crossings just to secure the banks and make sure we don't have any ditch breaks.
We don't want the
There are
farmer
reasons
on
for-
our canals, we can't have that, so.
Yeah.
Now, remember, for the emergency drought, you guys allowed some temporary stuff to
Yeah.
go over the top without us getting that directly involved.
He's going under this one,
They're going under.
These are
We
going
both-
under.
and he's got a license, right?
They're old flumes.
Yeah.
They're
Existing
existing.
They're just a
license.
license, so they're up to par?
Who put them in to start with?
Well, they deteriorated.
The Bureau?
Bureau government, we did. I don't know what the payment arrangements were back then, there's no, we never get all that, it's
That's
because
what
these
I'm
things are
thinking.
50, 70 years old. And,
We just-
but we have a policy on flumes, you guys are very familiar with that, that if the farmer, because they affect our facility, we do the work, and they pay for the materials, and we pay for the work, that way it keeps the integrity of the system. These are effectively the same as flumes, these are going under instead of over, and we've said that we honor the same arrangement if they were historic, like the flumes were, so we're delivering water.
Are you requiring a new license?
No,
Why not?
are
What
we,
you just said.
we're doing, let me see, we're doing exactly what we do with the flumes.
No, yes, the farmer will pay for the
Materials,
materials,
and
and we'll do the
We'll
work.
do the work.
And we pay for the work, that's what I said, or
Yeah.
I thought I said.
Well, that's what I thought I said too.
You did say it, I wasn't told that. You misunderstood me, or I said it wrong, I probably did.
And we do the work according to our specs or whatever the standards
The
are?
flumes aren't under the engineering department. The flumes are under his department.
So you do it any way it's appropriate?
So who owns the
Yeah,
power line?
vetting and everything.
We do. Sorry,
Concrete.
Buckland.
And it'll be lined, I mean, there's gonna be 50-foot of lining upstream and downstream to secure the canal and big.
It's a lot better than it was. I mean,
Plus, we're also using the A2000 pipe, which has got a longer lasting life.
Lifespan, yeah.
Yeah, these things are sedimented up and they're corroded out, and that's why
The
they,
previous ones were CMP, so obviously they corroded and.
but we just put them under the flume program.
That's your direction.
That's all right.
Turn to anybody, problem with that?
That's- I think if Pete's calling me, if he knows what's.
Okay. Okay, well, they'll address them just like we do the flumes then,
Okay. So you deal, so they pay the materials and you do the work?
right? Yes, sir.
And when it's not, and then they all come to engineering for approval.
I guess the only time it would change would be if there's no existing license, then.
Right.
then
See, that's what I'm
something-
trying to get to. In terms of a license, where do we stand? Then the reason I'm asking is, the feds couldn't give a license longer than 50 years by law. So any license they've got from the feds is over with.
Well, no, it depends on when
Isn't
they.
that grandfather dinner?
That may be true, but we're not giving, these are our facilities, the flumes we own and these we own. That's why that board chose, this goes way back when we didn't take on the flume program, back when we first set up the engineering department. And if the board wants engineering to look on, and I'm sure Pete doesn't, but if the board wants us to look at taking over the flume,
No,
will.
because y'all always say no.
We usually say no, require more money, and they have to get a license.
Well, the thing is that,
Like
See, I'm not interested in your policy. I'm not trying to tell you what to charge them or don't charge them or anything like that. All I'm interested in is the legality, and if they think they're traveling under a license with what you're gonna build under the canal, they won't be, in all probability,
Right,
because of the passage of
right,
time.
I agree, that's correct.
So they would need a new license.
But they've chosen not to issue new licenses on these states.
I don't think this license have a shelf life. I think they just
It's a drought.
perpetuity.
No, these Jim's right, they have most of them have shelf lives.
I would be curious to see, if this one particular one has a shelf life.
We
And
can
if
look
it
at
doesn't
it.
I
have a
have
shelf
not found
life,
the license. What I found were the plans,
right,
the
but,
original
rebuilt it.
plans when the Bureau constructed it.
We look at these structures as being our structures.
right, there are structures, and they're
Were they not
technically,
right?
aren't we the
Water
ones supposed to pay
specs.
for everything?
You guys.
I'm just saying.
Since it's never been in our department, I've got enough problems to stick my nose in other people's business.
Not that I wanna-
We've done other similar projects, and we've always charged the farmer for the materials, and we've always picked up the cost of the employee and the equipment. And I would hate to change, because then, you know, you might get somebody that might want to
This
be
is not-
reimbursed or so.
We honor the previous agreements.
Yeah, to add to Chuy's,
We honor the previous.
We honor the previous agreements. The only
You
time
can't
it
do
would
that.
change would be, like I said, on a new structure. Something that's coming brand new, then it would have to go through
Well,
engineering.
I think you got the direction of everybody agreed, right? Next subject?
Okay.
Beach, you can't honor an expired license. That can't happen.
Well,
Doesn't mean you can't do what you wanna do.
Pete's not honoring anything.
He's building his own
Working with the
structure.
district. Don't worry about it.
Pete, you happy?
Yes,
Okay.
very.
That's close.
Okay. Right here, this is the Hanson, that I spoke to you guys regarding this last board meeting, they had just failed. I just kinda wanna show you a couple of pictures of, that's what we have in the middle of the road.
That looks like a normal lot over there.
Is that a sinkhole or what?
Yeah, that's a sinkhole.
Oh,
The pipe
There's a
will-
pipe underneath the Hanson.
pipe to asphalt?
Oh, wait, darn it, you go for it.
And you can see the condition of the pipe there, so.
That looks pretty good. Why'd you replace that?
Yeah, that's what I'm ventilating, though.
Okay, again, the county paid for all material in this project. And that's the finished project after we're done. County still has to go in there and pave it, but that's what it looks like after we left.
They just threw a patch of concrete on top
No,
of
no, the pipe was replaced. The
Oh.
whole pipe was replaced.
Oh.
But the concrete that you saw there is the collar that,
Oh, it's a joint of the new pipes?
correct.
Enjoying the two.
Yeah, we wanted to make sure that we have no leaks in there, so. This is next door at our Clint Yard, the application of the glue that we applied to the parking lot. And it's just a couple of steps of what we took. That's what we started off with. We brought in some slag in there, mixed it with the dirt to get a better, I guess, better compaction. And here we're applying the glue. The first pass, we went with the dump truck, then, with the water truck, then we came back and graded it. And you'll see right there where we're coming back and grading it. Then we let it set for a little while, we gave it another pass, came back with a pneumatic roller.
Is that our pneumatic roller?
No, it's a
We
rubber.
haven't been able to locate one yet at the amount of money that you all budgeted for us.
You mean you came back with it for $1,000? Oh, not looking hard enough.
It looks pretty darn neat. I thought that was ours.
It was a brand, it's a brand new
That
piece of
truck
equipment.
is ours, right? We can buy it.
The water truck's ours.
Yes.
What'd you do for drainage? We got is there?
I took the same slope that we have at this yard out.
Straight to that, that's right.
Drainage.
And we expended the pond in the back.
But you put a new pond in?
Yes.
Right.
We got another engineer to calculate the.
It's right there, right against that fence there out.
I didn't know what was going on, so it just seemed right after a flood, we might wanna think about it.
Their spray rag looks like mine, they got a nozzle stopped up.
Then we came back and we sprayed it again, then we came back with the steel roller. And that's the final the final rolling that we'll do on it.
And how long did you think that was gonna last?
I'm
Well,
just
we
saying,
did the
whatever
Riverside,
infiltrated before, ain't gonna infiltrate
6
now,
years
I'll
ago?
put it in glue.
Really?
6 years ago.
Maybe 10
and it's
or-
still holding pretty good.
So it slopes from the house back?
Yes.
Is that the way it works?
Yes, sir.
We know that the flooding's gonna be worse once they make all that place impervious, right?
We've got the pond in the back, Al.
Yeah.
There's a haven't had a chance to show it.
You just told us it
You
wasn't
got
gonna
neighbors,
rain
don't
as
you?
much.
Well, at least
But
it's,
you got neighbors?
it's some water went in the ground during the rainstorm now, and none of it's going in.
You know, bypass our property, go to the next door neighbor.
We're gonna send it to the border patrol.
Okay, here's the Sandetti Wasteway one for the pipe, also eroded, and that structure started undermining it. So we had to go out there and just remove the whole structure, and we're in the process of rebuilding that. Riverside Canal, this is where that gas line goes from the US side to the Mexico side. And this is just a concrete slab that's being poured over the top. Just kind of some of the work that we went in there. We widened the banks, we narrowed the channel down to 28 feet.
Wish we could see one line that down.
Okay. And here's kind of the shaping that went on. There's approximately 200 feet that's being cemented here in this area.
Oh, pretty curls, $2 billion.
Again, this is a project that's also being funded by
About natural gas.
That's natural gas.
gas.
Are we doing it or is we don't?
We're doing the work. We're doing the work, and yeah, we're charging for material also.
Only thing is, we need grants.
Yeah, we need the grant for it. Don't forget.
And we poured concrete yesterday. We poured about 88 yards yesterday,
For a gift.
and we'll be pouring the rest of the floor tomorrow. 341 tail end. This is right by the tail end of the 243. This is a check structure that was also paid by Scott Roosevelt, using it for to check up water here when he runs his wells. He wants to be able to back up water into the 243 and up to 341, so he can have minimal loss. He also ordered one of the mechanical stainless steel gates for this project, and that's where we're at as of today. We'll be pouring this on Monday. We continue with the washouts on the drains that was caused by the last flood that we had. The little middle drain. And we started on the Franklin feeder, doing all the prep work. We're starting to narrow the channel, dig it out, get that sand out, and start prepping for Shot Creek. This is kind of what it looks like right now.
We just take all the sand over to the Jonathan Rogers area?
Yes, in fact, yeah, that's what we're doing right now, Al, and the gentleman from the El Paso Zoo, or not the zoo, the golf course in Escalante, he also called me, says that he'll take all the sand that we can give him.
Okay.
All right. Give them the riverside.
What's your linear footage of Shot Creek you're hoping to do this year?
It's approximately, is it about a mile, Chuck?
Yeah, it's about a mile, a little bit more than a mile.
All right.
So,
How many machines do we have?
We're gonna connect the Franklin feeder to the Franklin.
Wow.
Finish it.
Do we have two machines or one machine?
two machines.
So how are they doing? Are they gonna be able to keep up?
They're doing good. They're doing real good. Yeah, we got two crews going out there. We're working 10-hour days, 5 days a week. So I think it's a very doable thing. Mesa Drain, Worsham Road after the floods, before and after picture. New Mexico Drain, same thing there. As we're going in there repairing washouts, we're also cleaning up these drains. Remember, this is the drain that we got hammered for up at over by the Willows. That seems that the people are not very happy with. Again, before and after pictures.
They're very happy with it?
Well, I've been getting more compliments than complaints now.
Put a sign saying courtesy of EP.
Oh, they know who we are. Montoya Lateral, this is an area that's very difficult to get into. This is right behind the racetrack. But this year we went in there and cleaned it all up. We're gonna go in there and kind of straighten out this canal a little bit.
Is that portion New Mexico?
Yes. Yes. Yeah, this is right before it dumps into the Montoya drain. course, a little bit of encroachment. And that is it, gentlemen.
All right, Pete, you've done good work.
Is there anything that needs addressing that any of you guys have maybe got some calls on?
I was just curious, with you, all these backhoes that you have, I know as you leave them parked, it's wherever you guys are at, have you experienced any vandalism or anything that?
No, maybe because
Costs us money?
usually we'll secure them. In other words, we will not leave a backhoe on top of the bank. When we're working up there by the central area, I coordinate with the El Paso Zoo and we park it inside the fenced area of the El Paso Zoo. In other words, every time we leave our equipment out and about, I make sure that it's secure, with the exception of the excavators.
Yeah, those big, long reach
Right.
excavators. You don't experience any, they respect for the most part.
We have gotten some vandalism, but it's very minimal.
Minimum.
Yeah.
You guys are using metal shields, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, they put up metal shields.
Yeah, they're still blades.
We had some damage done to one of them. They cut the fuel lines and fan belt and so on like that, but
Do you have any experience high depth auto type thing where somebody backs up a tractor and loads it up and sends it to Juarez?
you know.
Not in a few years.
I know, it's a big equipment, crazy, it's a surprise.
We're over.
We lost a Bobcat one
The
time.
backhoes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
found that thing,
Yeah, well, I was in Juarez,
We never even found out who did it.
Neither did we.
For
I
sure.
don't have any idea.
All right, 4-foot Robert.
Thank you.
Now, you joined from 2 to 4 pretty fast, didn't you?
I tell you, Johnny,
Well, I
He
mean,
likes it.
his name is 4-foot, he can't always deliver, but he tries.
now they call me 2-inch. Like Pete said, we finished our return flow at the end of this month. And to kind of give you the highlight of the whole thing, we were right at 50-50. We watered about 61,000 with allotment when we did get it for about a month and a half. And return flow, we watered 61,000 also. So if you take what we did with return flow, we're averaging about 6,000 acres a month was that we did with a little bit of return flow. Learned a lot with it, you know. I think next year, I think me and Chewy and Pete were talking about starting return flow back in January. As soon as we come back, and they'll probably be in the Unit 9 area. And I think that working it with, we did last year, just right off the bat, I think we'll just go to 2 inches. Because last year, we started, because people didn't want it right off the bat, we kind of let them have it. And then a lot of people got upset, well, why did he get water only twice? And they don't see it that, well, we didn't have no demand, but, and what happened, it upset a lot of farmers because some of them got two water and they only got one. And it takes almost like 3 months to cover everybody with the 2 inches. So, and I'm thinking this year, a lot of people are talking about January, trying to irrigate already cotton. They're gonna hit it pretty hard because, but then again, they're starting to see the reports of the water up there.
Water in January for pre-planting?
Yeah, they're,
Let me tell you what you do, if it's there, you better take it and use it, and you may have to run your wells to re-wet it.
yeah.
Just try to build up some
Well, you're
reserve.
right, you build up reserves, and a lot of this ground, you can water in January and plant it
I remember back in '78, Johnny, that we watered a lot of the land in December, because we had to work during Christmas, because there was no water. And remember, Sonny Hillen that did that, and he watered back in December, and then you had to re-water it
and
again.
sometimes it depends on a lot of
Yeah,
the factors, but in the types of soil that, you know, we planted a lot of groundwater in January. Not by choice, but sure did.
Because we also saw a lot of new alfalfa being planted this year also, right at the end of our watering season.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a lot more going in right now.
They won't stop, Johnny.
Yeah.
They will not stop. And
Personal choice, go for it.
They won't stop, and the crazy thing about it, especially these small acres, they'll go in there and they'll plant 20 acres and say, we won't bother you again. Robert said, no, you won't bother me again because you won't get it again. But, 3 weeks later, I said, Robert, can I get some more water? Guys, where am I gonna get water from you?
Well, the demand in Central Texas, right, is gonna drop off significantly because We got a huge amount of rain over there, 20 inches. They'll be producing hay, not consuming hay, so.
So the 2 inches, it did work, but, caused a lot of farmers did pump, and they didn't utilize the water from the district. But next year, if we do go back into 2 inches, I learned a lot from it, that you gotta be careful with some of these guys, because they'll try to manipulate the water a little bit, so.
Really?
Yeah. It was tough, Johnny.
Manipulated.
Yeah, you try to give them the benefit of the break, Johnny, and make sure that they survive, but you give them an inch and they want 2 inches, and it never stops. But for all, once we took control of the 2 inches, a lot of the negatives started, it didn't happen no more, because no more of this, well, he watered and I didn't water, because we made sure everybody got one water and that was it. That was the cool thing about it, of course.
Yeah, well, I think that's what we wanted to do from the board's perspective, is to get, get everybody an opportunity to do it. The only caveat to that is if nobody wants it and it's gonna be wasted, give it to somebody.
Yeah, so it worked pretty good. And now, the biggest question now, everybody's calling me, and you all heard the reports from Mel, what's gonna happen next year, when we're gonna release, and all this water's coming down. So guys, you don't realize, it takes a lot of water to get it down here. Are we gonna release in March? The board ain't gonna decide that until January or February, so.
March. Yeah, March.
Yeah, and so, other than that, for right now, our season has ended. I took my bulletproof vest off. I'm
I
good
didn't
for
see
about
a
2 months.
9A there for a
Huh?
while. I didn't see a 9A there, Robert.
Of course, they had me down there. No, but it went pretty smooth. It was rough there for a while, but the 2 inches, we learned a lot from it. And that's it for me. Unless you got any questions. Come January, we'll be running water again in case they do ask you. And I don't know how fast Pete will get through with the Franklin feeder, but like I tell the farmers last year, it doesn't matter. The 2 inches, if we go to 9 strong, by the time we get full water in Unit 8, most of the people at 9 have watered out.
A lot of people get better benefit if they're late, if they're delayed.
Yeah.
When are you getting water in 9 again?
Started in January.
January, okay.
And
Never,
who's gonna want water?
That was great.
Who's gonna want water first of the year?
Oh, I know.
Your
This.
compadre.
Robert, thank you very much.
Thank you.
For all
Mi
your
compadre,
efforts,
Tony.
Pete, your efforts, guys.
Yes.
Yes.
Y'all are American
Y
makers.
mis primos también, ¿verdad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, no action number 10. Number 11, we have some requests. Full license, Jake?
Yes, we've got 3 this morning. 11A, gentlemen, is an application on behalf of the city of Socorro to construct a bridge for a new roadway that is going into Las Margaritas subdivision right here downstream from Passmore, essentially, where the RCA plant. They're gonna put a 60-foot width, 2-lane, 2-way, so 4 lanes essentially into the subdivision. And they're gonna span the Franklin Canal and the Dolan Drain, which is B. It's the same roadway. We finally got the drawings where they need to be.
Are the bridges gonna be elevated like the ones they got on the Franklin? How are they gonna be?
No, they're gonna be all at grade. They're gonna be at grade. They're gonna
Well, they
put,
said they're so dangerous.
yes. Yeah, it says free span, so it will span the channel completely. It won't be, it's coming from one edge to
So they
the
got
other.
invert
columns. Yeah, they're doing box beams. No.
it's just slightly inverted, so.
Yeah, but it has to be inverted, so.
Not much. We ended up improving the hydraulic efficiency of the sections.
Yeah, narrowed it down, and the fact that where they're coming from is so low, they're gonna do significant fill, so, because, Franklin Canal is pretty high up here,
Yeah,
so
that's pretty narrow.
they're gonna bring in some fill, and, it's gonna be a gradual slope.
We worked with them so that we wouldn't get any sedimentation in the structures.
Like these that they have up here now, the problem is that they free span at the top of the canal, but it's so much higher
Terrible.
than Alameda, it's an absolute nightmare.
Right, and then the
One project.
with this one from Alameda to the Franklin, they're gonna fill all that in, so they're going to, it'll be a gradual slope to where they get in there. We're not gonna be doing this, it's gonna be a flat
But this
slope.
is a public roadway, so it brings with it
Gradual.
gas, electricity, telephone, all the
That's already fed into the subdivision off
From
of
a
Passmore.
different area.
That's already.
This is
But
city of
the
Socorro.
important thing, Jay, is that
They
under
want to.
law, when you put in a public roadway, they can bring all those, all those utility services have the right to cross regardless of what we say.
Right.
You know, we try to hassle them on engineering to make it safe, but it's not like somebody who wants a license not in a roadway, where, you know, we charge them a fee and it's a private license, this is public.
You know, but there's already all that stuff supplied from a different avenue for this specific.
For this
subdivision,
particular
but
one,
in
yes.
the future, that's a potential.
So what kind of fee are you suggesting, Jay?
What's the total amount?
The total amount for application A for the Franklin Canal is $55,000 for a 50-year license. It's going to be a roadway. And application B, which is the same roadway, is $43,000 for a total of about $98,000 for 50 years.
I think the
Payable up front or?
Payable up front.
Yeah, payable effective lease rate's about $43,000 per acre per year. I think we negotiated a pretty good amount.
The plan was to, you know, obviously construct it during this non-irrigation season due to problems on their end. It's not gonna happen probably till next non-irrigation, 2014, November,
When
unfortunately.
you asking for approval.
So, yes, the engineer recommends 1547 and 1548 Wilton Connors Way for approval.
So back to what Jim was indicating, anybody can run a pipe to that public right away.
Not anybody, a public utility.
Any utility, gas.
Well, they have to, the procedures we've set up and under litigation with those entities is varies by entity. So, let's say Texas Gas comes in and they submit to us they have to get approval and they have to get a letter of no objection, and the board actually approves those, and they give us design. So we follow all the design procedures, it's just we don't charge a use fee, we don't charge a lease, if they're within the right of way.
Is that standard what we've done in the past?
That's for
Yeah.
Texas Gas, yes.
It's law, is that a law?
Yeah.
No, we got.
Well, we have a lawsuit.
I'm just saying, no, we're
Yeah.
using
Settlement
revenue.
of a lawsuit.
We're using
We have an
revenue.
old lawsuit that they ruled against us on in federal court, this guy Prado,
It's circuit.
who's now on the Fifth Circuit. But it was probably
Yeah,
a
this
court judge that did
water
it.
Yeah, no, but we wouldn't appeal it.
Right.
Okay, so we're taking into account any lost revenue in the future that could be as a result of this little bridge.
Sure, no, Texas Gas, I mean, those are essentially the
That's
same
in-
procedure. Same procedure. Water and sewer, on the other hand, obviously it's a different situation, but
It's only
Again.
public utilities though.
they've already been fed, that entire subdivision's got
Well,
water and sewer.
it's really AT&T and Texas Gas. We've got negotiated agreements with the city, so that apply.
And if AT&T doesn't increase that, get better service and their stuff, they're probably gonna be non-existent out there. Awful.
Like I say, in this particular one, we don't envision any utilities. going
No, I don't, because they're coming from a different direction.
Right, yeah, subdivision's essentially built, and, you know, their services today, but, and then it's all developed behind that subdivision, Peters Road, with the park is at and all that, so, I mean, expansion is kind of limited.
No, it's just bringing it up, because I'm kind of a skeptical individual, and if there's a way of, you know, doing a bridge for the common good, all of a sudden you see a big old pipeline going through it as a, but then that's hard to address.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to approve application 1547 and 1548?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Larry makes a motion, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Lindor seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carried. Item C, 1579.
Item C is an application on behalf of Lower Valley Water District for a 25-year license for a 12-inch potable water line inside a 24-inch steel casing. This particular line is located right at Buford, where the old Waterburger used to be, in 7-Eleven. There is an existing 12-inch water line, which is going to need to be relocated significantly, 75 feet upstream. TxDOT is placing the canal underground there, if you recall last year. They're gonna place the canal at that particular intersection inverted for about 175 feet. So obviously, any utilities that are in conflict with the box need to be lowered and bored and all that. So Texas Gas has already bored, the board approved that a couple of months ago, but yeah, the construction has stopped at this particular location because this was a late submittal. It's been reviewed and they've complied by, the regulation, or the specifications required for engineering. They're gonna bore it probably next week, contingent on approval, but yeah, they've submitted the required documentation. It's a 15-foot easement, 80-foot in width in the canal, which is $3,000 for a 25-year license. And engineering recommends this this application for approval.
Do I hear a motion?
I'll move.
Okay, Miguel makes a motion. Art seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay. All the rest say none, 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 none. No action on any of them, Sharon, except for 14, I think. Is that where we are? I believe it is. Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Okay, Miguel makes a motion and Art seconds, all in favor, any further, any discussion? Having heard none, call for a vote, all in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Meeting's adjourned.